but it is not that like it's not like they're asking you to provide for them. It is your legal responsibility to do so.
I'm not fighting against these aren't false statements. I'm not
devil's advocate.
No, you're good to play devil's advocate. What I'm saying is it's absolutely correct. I'm not fighting against that. But what I'm saying is, but even that in its essence, isn't that still worth something considering the alternative? Let's move on to our next story here. From the fucking stupid ass I Am Legend people to something else that's very interesting. This is very interesting. I'm curious to see where this conversation is going to go. Look, Quentin Tarantino came out and basically, I guess he was like on a podcast or a show or something like that, where he basically said, I don't give my mom shit. All the millions that I have now, look, Quentin Tarantino is worth about $120 million, right? And that's just what's reported. Who knows what he's doing as far as like Narcos and shit. But he's worth about 120 million, and he's like, I'm not giving my mom shit. Now the reason why he's not giving his mom anything is because he basically said when he was younger and he was basically, while he was in school, he would like work on his screenplays, like while he's in class, uninterested in his actual school. Right. Now, obviously that led to, I'm sure, just shitty grades and, all that entails. And his mom basically told him, hey, and I can give you the exact quote that he says is, he says, and then in the middle of the little tirade, he said, oh, and by the way, this little writing career, and then he says with a finger quote, this little writing career that you're doing, that expletive, I don't know who the fuck wrote this article, but you can just fucking say it, is expletive over. So he's basically saying that his mom says this, right, to him, right? Now, he did go on to say that he actually has helped her out in the past. Like she got into an issue with the IRS. Now, way to put your mom on Front Street. That you just putting her business out there on Front Street with the fucking IRS. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So just to iron out what he the full thing of what he said. He said, when she said that to me in a sarcastic way, in my head, I go, okay, lady, when I become a successful writer, you will never see a penny for my success. There will be no house for you. There's no vacation for you. No Elvis Cadillac for mommy. You won't, you get nothing because you said that. And then he said he helped out our jam with the IRS. Yeah.
Addy, this is number 4 for the stories. If you want to change the lower third.
Didn't Aaron Rodgers do something like this?
The lower thirds are wrong.
Ooh, you fucked it up. So I'm going to blabber here. I think Aaron Rodgers did something like this recently.
And number 5 is greatest of all time.
That's weird. What was number 3?
Well, let's find out. Kate.
Weird.
I think you had Kate twice.
Oh.
Not my fault.
Fair enough. All right. Yes. I'm sorry. What were you saying about this?
No, I was gonna say I think Aaron Rodgers has some issue like this with his family, but I think
he definitely doesn't. He definitely doesn't like his family, or at least he doesn't just fuck with them on a regular basis, I guess. What are your thoughts on
this whole Quentin Tarantino thing?
Sure.
I don't know. I think we all come from different home environments, right? In some environments, our parents are very supportive, and they build us up. In other environments, sometimes, our parents have been destructive and they destroy our sense of confidence or our sense of self.
Yeah.
And that's because not every person or not everyone who can have children is meant to have children, right? Yeah. So it seems like in Quentin Tarantino's situation, his maybe she was more traditional. She was like, get good grades, go to college, be a doctor or be a lawyer. Like she probably didn't believe in the arts, right? Writing, painting, acting, any of those things, right? Yeah. So she probably, berated him, belittled him, demeaned him in a way that was so sensitive to him that he's never gotten over it. Mm-hmm. But I would be interested to hear his mother's side of the story, where maybe she just did that because she wanted a better future for her son, and she didn't think it was writing movies. She didn't think that was being a Hollywood movie director was a reality for anyone that she ever knew, anyone from their community, from their city, from their town. And she was like, I don't think my son can achieve that. but what I think is achievable is to become like a doctor or lawyer, something you can, or a banker, something you can see and touch and interact with every day. But you never know how powerful the words you say are to individual people and how much they'll carry that.
Oh, for sure.
Do I think that motivated Quentin Tarantino to become the director he is? Absolutely.
For sure.
Do I think he owes his mother anything for it? Not really.
We might disagree there.
But do I think, like, despite your success, despite your upbringing, despite whatever like abuse or challenges you may have to face, I think the real victory is saying like, all right, you know what? You didn't believe in me. You didn't empower me. You were not a part of my success. I've arrived nonetheless. You're still my mom. I still love you. So I'm going to take care of you. You know, maybe I won't buy you the Cadillac. I'll get you the Toyota RAV4. You know, maybe I'm not going to get you the house with the pool, but it'll have a nice backyard. That this is the least I could do for you. I'm worth 120 million.
Yeah. So we disagree in that he does owe something. And what I mean by that is, look, I don't know what the inner workings. She might have been abusive to him. Maybe that's not the extent of it. Right? Like maybe she was actually like either physically or just like super emotionally like abusive to him. Right. But if it's to the extent of the comments that he made, Quentin, let's get over this. All right. Let's go to therapy. Let's figure this out. Kind of petty. Right. You know, because if it's that, who doesn't have a story of their parents being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do? This other shit that I can't fucking figure out. That's like artsy and shit. Fuck that shit. Hit the fucking books. My dude, who doesn't have that story, you know? So look, but I'm not trying to like minimize his experience because, you know, only he knows what his relationship with his mom was like. But what I will say is that, look, no matter what happens, right? Our parents, at least the ones who are actually there to some degree, are owed something. Bringing you into this world. And that is only worth so much because a lot of people can fucking, you know, procreate.
If my girlfriend were here, she would say that any child brought into this world did not ask to be brought in.
Fair enough.
They were just brought here.
No, but you're absolutely right. No child asked to be brought into the world. But what I'm saying is they brought you into the world in terms of they brought you into the world and at least some degree taking care of you. I'm not talking about those shitty parents who just fucking have kids and are like, fuck this kid, right? And just like fucking
also, if my girlfriend, to play devil's advocate, she would say that not only it is for each child, right? Not they don't choose to be brought into this world, but it is not that like it's not like they're asking you to provide for them. It is your legal responsibility to do so.
I'm not fighting against these aren't false statements. I'm not
playing devil's advocate.
No, you're good to play devil's advocate. What I'm saying is it's absolutely correct. I'm not fighting against that. But what I'm saying is, but even that in its essence, isn't that still worth something considering the alternative, right? Like you could have a kid and just leave him in the fuck. I was just watching a movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, Losing Isaiah. I was watching that the other day about, it's basically like Halle Berry. She plays a drug addict who leaves her kid in like a fucking dumpster and goes back to find him. And he's like already gone.
No, her kid got ran over by the car.
Not Monster Ball, but thanks for that spoiler alert for the people who want to watch Monster Ball or who are late to that party. But yeah, like she just left her kid in a dumpster. What I'm saying is that's gotta be worth something. There are a lot of shitty parents, and look, you know, talking to Eddie here, you know, I'm sure for one, I feel like my dad, and I make no, you know, a small thing about this. My dad's a piece of shit. I have no problem saying that on a podcast, you know. I think the difference with when I look at like my dad is like my problem with him is that for one, he was just so problematic, like just period, just as a human being. And on top of that, he ain't take care of shit. You know what I mean? Like that's like it's a different vibe when the person doesn't give a fuck, like whether you're eating, whether you're sleeping, whether you're doing whatever. It's a different vibe when that person's just not there to like take care of, or when they're there, they just don't give a shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's a different vibe than somebody who like, okay, I'm going to make sure you eat. I'm going to make sure you go to school. I'm going to make sure I care about you doing something in school. Different vibe than somebody who's just like, I don't give a shit. You know?
If you won $100 million today, what would be your payback for your father?
Probably just if he has like any sort of like medical issues or medical debt or whatever, I'd probably take care of that. But that's to the extent of it. So unlike, it's kind of like
So no house, no Cadillac.
No, but that's different from. I think that's a little different from Quentin Tarantino's scenario where his mom was trying to get him to do better in school. I don't think that's a bad thing, that she's saying. I think it's short-sighted on her part to not recognize that, hey, this thing that he's working on could actually turn out to be a thing. But which one of our parents do? Like, unless you're fucking hippies from the like the 70s. Like,
so the thing that I will give him is like this is a very small fraction of the story, right? We don't know, like, maybe this is a persistent thing throughout his entire childhood, right? Maybe this abuse that he's speaking of in this one situation is something that happened every day for many, many years. And maybe there was other forms of abuse that happened. I think it's interesting that, like, if you have a kid and when you get, when your kids get older and you get older, if their tone, their whole vibe is pretty much like, yo, fuck you, I feel like you did something wrong more so than like they're ungrateful.
I would have to agree with that. I would have to agree with that. If you're not friends with your kid by the time that they reach their teenage years, look, teenagers are just a fucking nightmare. I was a nightmare when I was a teenager. I'm sure you were probably the same.
Yeah.
But I think that the errors that I see with my, like more specifically with my mom, for instance, is that I think you really do have to be truly invested into your kid's life, as in like, hey, we're gonna be we're gonna be friends, when you get to be the look, my dog Bud here, he's always trying to be a part of the show, this fucking loud ass nails. Yikes.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's dog abuse. But you do really look. You have a kid, so I'm sure you have a completely different outlook on this than I do. But I feel like you have to like be invested in the kid's life, as in like, hey, we're gonna be buddies. Like, I'm still your parent, but I gotta figure out like what's going on, and not from a what are you doing kind of way, but from a hey, talk to me.
Yeah.
Well, how was your day like?
Also, you need to know I will whoop your ass, but like, hopefully,
come on, I'm not going to do that every day. Just occasionally, I got to like punch you in the chest real quick.
Mondays at 7:00 because I know you did something wrong.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, right? Like when you talk about 20, 30 years later, when you're late in life, I think if you were not even a good parent, just a halfway decent parent, you're going to arrive to the point where you're older and your kid is like, okay, you know what? I'll pay it back, right? I'll take care of you. I'm not just going to be like, fuck you. If your kid just straight up walk past you at the mall, or like if you're at Starbucks and like you look behind you and your kid is behind you and they ignore you or don't pay for your coffee, you fucked up.
Don't pay for your coffee.
If they're like, hey, dad, this one's on me. And if they're like, yo, I don't fucking know this guy, spit in his cup, you fucked up. So I wonder what Quentin Tarantino's mom did, but fuck them.